Working on making sure everything is as it should be. There's that yoga video in the right place. Awesome. Now the mindfulness one. Here we are. All right, we are live. I have access to comments, so feel free to write in any feedback, any suggestions for future talks, or any sharing of your experience, how this practice or these lessons go for you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you've had a wonderful holiday and solstice and, the end of 2020. Some people might feel varying ways about the year 2020 and what that means, and I think that's great. Everyone can have a different opinion about 2020 and what it means now that it's coming to an end. But what I think we can all agree on is that it's a good opportunity for new beginnings, whatever that may mean for you. And this is kind of a recurring theme of my practice of mindfulness, is recognizing that routine is possibly the biggest threat to your ability to live a fulfilled life, to show up as a full, whole human being. And there's something beautiful in that. Hey, Debbie, it has been an interesting year. I'm praying for peace as well. And you know what they say, if you are looking for peace, the best way to look is inward. So, the thing about routine, one of my favorite experts on habit, James Clear, states that good habits, time is your ally. With bad habits, time is your enemy. So when we think of life as an opportunity or just a matter of time that we get to experience in this form, on this earth, in this place, with these relationships, opportunities, challenges, struggles. If time is our life, then wouldn't we want time to be our ally rather than our enemy? Unconscious habits make up the majority of our day. Our highly advanced brains are constantly figuring out ways to make shortcuts to get us to our rewards quicker. Hello, Shirley. Good morning. Good afternoon, I guess now. So when we have all these shortcuts in our mind that, this means good, this means bad, this means yes me, this means no me, I put on my right shoe first, I put on my left shoe second, I tie them with 2 bunny ears. All of that stuff is great to have these routines. But the problem is neuroscience has recently revealed, just in the past decade or a couple decades, that by the time you're 30, the majority of your time is spent in a part of your brain called the default mode network, which is your autopilot. You're just going through the motions the majority of your day. And, like I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing if going through the motions include self-improvement, self-reflection, practices of mindfulness where you're constantly aware and recognizing your choices. But most likely, your routines are unconscious. You're not thinking of being present. So I guess what the trick would be is, how do we make it automatic to look inward? How do we make it routine to stop thinking of the next thing or thinking of the past and think of the here and now? How do we make that a routine? Well, there's lots of ways, and the experts say a lot of things. But ultimately, practice. Practice is everything. Because what is life besides right now? Right here and now. How do we become unconscious? When we are not here and now, that means our mind is thinking of something else in the future or the past, and our body is just going through the motions. Time is a funny thing as this topic comes back up. Sometimes we get to a point in our life where time just seems like subjective. Time doesn't even seem like a real tangible thing. We can remember stuff from 10 years ago clear as day, but we can't remember what we had for lunch 2 Thursdays ago. And the reason is how time works is how our memories work. Our memories are of the past. We would think, right? We would think memory equals past. But looking at it differently is memories are only created right here and now. The more that we are present in the here and now, the more of our senses, the more of our observation, the more of our attention that is here and now, the more we are creating an experience or a memory. So to make time seem as though it slows down, we can only do that in the here and now. And when we are here and now, we create more robust, more accessible, and meaningful memories. So to grow into someone more conscious, to grow into someone more fulfilled, someone that has better recall, better memory, better impact, and a better ability to see how everything is connected when we look back in our life. This tapestry, this divine connection that is within our entire life. In yoga, they call that the sutra. The sutra is a word for the thread, like suture. The thread that weaves everything together. If we are not here and now, we miss it. We're just focused on getting to the next thing. We're just focused on reliving past traumas or past things that upset us. And the only place we have power to recognize that divine nature is right here and now. And the more that we do it, the easier it becomes. Threading together this tapestry of life. We're all connected. Everything that happens to us, for us, all of a sudden starts to make sense when we start paying more attention. Studies show that if you meditate just 20 minutes a day for roughly a month, the physical structures in your brain begin to change. Your amygdala, the center for your emotional reactions, your fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response, that part of your brain starts to shrink. Gray matter starts to increase. And practices like yoga and exercise also create BDNF, or brain-derived neurotropic factor, the stuff that makes your mind able to be malleable or molded into create something new. You can create an entire new you from 20 minutes of meditation. Now, some of you think 20 minutes of meditation, I'd rather have all my teeth pulled at once. 20 minutes of meditation for a beginner is huge. That's challenging. It's a big challenge. So recognize that 1 minute of meditation adds up. If you commonly find yourself just meditating, just paying attention to your breath for 3 breaths, for 10 breaths, that's great. That makes a difference. And if you can go a little longer, or if you can do it more often, great. That makes a difference. If you can start to set up habits off of already existing habits, when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm going to sit up tall while I'm brushing, and I'm going to breathe deeply through my nose. That is mindfulness. When you're driving to work, when you drive past that same billboard or stoplight, take 3 deep breaths and think of 3 things that you're grateful for. That is mindfulness. So even though that this goal, yeah, Aubrey, that's right. You're welcome. So recognizing that even if the goal is 20 minutes a day, it doesn't have to be 20 minutes straight. It can be 1 minute 20 times. It can be 2 minutes 10 times. It can be 5 minutes 4 times. You get the idea. But the more you practice it, the less challenging it becomes. Mindfulness is quite simple. Is all of your attention to the best of your ability on this moment, on either your senses, your tactile senses, your sense of smell, taste, touch, sight. Are you all the way here? The longer that you can do that, the more often that you do that, you're changing the physical structure of your brain. Because otherwise, you are lost in the predictions of the future, or lost reliving the less than savory parts of your past. And this is the majority of us. This is our default mode as a society. We are naturally unconscious. We're on our phones, we're hunched over computers, we're reading news and scrolling and doing all this stuff that has very little to do with right here and now. And this practice of yoga, this practice of mindfulness, it's about recognizing all of our power, our relationship with our past, and the future that we're creating. It all is taking place right now. So the more you get familiar with finding your way here and now, the more habits you create to find your way to here and now, it can change your life. So for 5 minutes, I'm going to guide you through a practice that you can direct all of your senses to here and now. And you'll notice, even though it's simple, it's hard sometimes, depending on how stressed out your day is, depending on how much practice you got, depending on what's in your system, if you just guzzled a latte or whatever. All of these variables play into the reality. But all the while, the reality is only here and now. So all you're doing is observing without judgment the present moment. And whatever pops up to distract you, that's the lesson. That is where you're being pulled away. That is where your regularly scheduled program is popping up to distract you from the here and now, to keep you from your own liberation. Because all these well-walked paths in our brain doesn't want to leave them, even if we are completely unsatisfied with them. If we're completely unsatisfied with our day-to-day life, our brain, our ego, will fight to keep it because it's familiar. And familiar means safe. So let's just turn our awareness inward. Sit up tall. Notice how many muscles it takes to lengthen your spine up toward the sky. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Notice the muscles involved. Does it feel like a lot of work? Perhaps you'd prefer laying on your back to create a nice long spine. If there's just too much distraction, sitting up. However you find yourself, with a long spine, shoulders relaxed, start breathing in deeply through your nose. Go slowly, maybe count to 5 on your inhale, and 5 on your exhale, out through your nose as well. Deeply in, and deeply out. Try to find a smooth transition from inhale to exhale, the seamless give and take. Notice how much attention you can pay to the shape of your breath, to the quality of your breath, to the sound of your breath. Notice how the sound of my breath has a whooshing sound, kind of like the ocean. You do this by creating a slight constriction in the back of your throat, like you're snoring, but just for that pressure, for that sound, that whoosh. As the breath rises and falls, try to ride that wave through your body. Pay attention to the details. Maybe it's tension in your low back, or along your spine, or in your shoulders, or your neck. Maybe it's tension behind the eyes, or in the eyebrows. Whatever it is, all you have to do is observe it. If it's uncomfortable, watch how your mind is trying to pull you out of here as quickly as possible. Wants to think of the future, wants to think of the past, wants to think of somewhere else or someone else, because that's more entertaining than having to sit through the discomfort of the present. Just a few more breaths here before we go a bit deeper. If you've forgotten to breathe, if you've noticed you started holding your breath, or if you've noticed your mind is stuck in some type of loop, neither here or now, just notice. Notice your body, how it starts to change. Maybe it becomes warmer. Maybe tension starts to melt away from certain places in your body. Maybe it helps to keep on counting the length of your breath. A 5 count on the way in and a 5 count out, or maybe a 4 count, or maybe a 6 count. Try to make the breaths equal size. Also, pay attention to try to fill the lungs from the bottom of the lungs up to the top. And also try to fill the lungs equally on the left and right side. Maybe it's easier to breathe in to one side than the other. Notice this. Notice the wisdom of the body. Now as the breath kind of clears some space, maybe the mind seems a little less busy, maybe a little more at ease. Maybe it's still totally busy. That's all right too. You can use the counting of the breath, or you can use a simple word like release, or peace, or om, or shanti. Whatever feels good for you, to be in the present, recognizing that nothing in this moment matters if it is not here in your body or in your immediate surroundings. Feel how liberating it is to let go of the weight of the world, wondering who's posting what or what is taking place on the other side of the world. That'll still be there waiting for you after you finish this practice. Prioritize your time in the here and now. Because as science continues to reveal, there's nothing more important, more life-changing than your relationship to yourself. There's no more effective way of practicing than paying your attention inward. To conclude this practice, set an intention. How do you want to feel showing up to the next thing you have to do, or how this week goes, or how you go into the new year? Be intentional. How do you want to feel? Less worried, more confident, more connected, more energized, more fulfilled, more purposeful, more appreciated. Whatever it is, do it intentionally and recognize that you don't have to wait for the future to feel how you want. Feel where in your body right now connects and resonates with that desired feeling. Maybe it just feels like a lightness. Maybe it feels like a release. Maybe it feels just like you're letting go of something, unclenching something, loosening or reaching or pushing something. Where in your body feels the way that you want to? What are you going to connect with and carry with you into the future? Today, this week, or the rest of your life? Take a few more breaths before we conclude. See how much space you've created. As you come back into this moment, give thanks to your body. Give thanks to whatever in your life allows you the time and space to check out what's going on inside. All of these are blessings. Although it's easy to take for granted, make a habit of not taking it for granted. Look inward often and be amazed at what you find. Thanks a lot, everyone. Once again, I hope you had excellent holidays or breaks or whatever, however your week went. Still Christmas break, so I got one of my assistants here with me, looking very festive. She's been coloring, she's been drawing, but thank y'all so much. You want to wave or something? She started meditating. She was meditating at first, She's got a lot of practice, though. You guys have an excellent rest of your day. I'll be back on Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Oh, the meaning of Shanti, Abri. Yeah, that's peace, more or less. Oh, Lisa, thank you.